So every time
you do absolutely, and that's. There's nothing wrong with that. Especially when
there's another girl in
January, February.
We've started jumping
Oh,
on each
yeah.
other, and now I'm like, okay, I gotta do more.
Because my dad had my dad's.
Oh, really?
Well, it's like number one.
It's a challenge. It's like
Don't let her in because you won't be number
we
one.
went from.
Oh, okay, well,
No, it's
so,
the sign up is over. It's something that benefits
Florida pretty much
kids
every
in
winter.
Minneapolis, and that's where I was born. So that's kind of fun.
And
But it's the
just to be in
pivot
the warmth, because he'll
there's
just
a
lock
pivot
up.
group that is part of the Florida. How does that even get organized? I'm already in another challenge right now.
When it's cold, you're right.
I'm gonna continual, so
It's that needs an environment where
there's
you're
power zone
probably
training,
doing the manly thing.
which is just a specific type of training.
Or slip and fall.
And so I'm part of the power zone pack,
Take care of
and they
driveways.
just have like challenges every 6 or 8 weeks.
But you don't do it.
Yeah, I get it.
You
So I
just-
have a
you get-
team, but no one rides at 4:30 in the morning, so. You're right, nobody would guess.
You ride at 4:30 in the morning.
Well, I'm using the bike at 4:45.
One of them uses.
This morning I was on at 6 because I don't have kids this week. Yeah, you do. That's the only time I work out. And see, I do not. And so if I do it at night, right, it totally screws up everything. So if I do it at night, I'm not opposed to doing it at night. But then I have to shower after, right? And I gotta blow dry my hair. And then I don't do all that in the morning. And then you have like stinky hair. Like, it's a whole thing. And I shampoo. Thank you.
Hello, Gary.
Hey, I'm like, I just like. That's great.
That is awesome.
So this is the challenge. I mean, this is something that's probably super ridiculous.
I'll get with you afterwards, and we'll get with Kimberly. You go. You're welcome. Hello.
How are you?
Pick my brain.
How about her?
Well, they're doing that.
Yeah, but you can sit there. It's okay. You know, oh, you're here. No, I just, no. I will not talk
So you're in the right place. You're welcome.
Morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Somebody give me some good news. How's the baby?
Super duper good. We just switched her foods, so she is having a lot more diaper changes now, in a good way, which is that's a success. So that is good.
Is she in school yet?
Yeah, she'll be 7 weeks tomorrow. She's almost graduating.
Second language?
We're trying to get her into clarinet lessons.
All right, other people have good news. Anybody have any other
Yes,
good news?
my new construction that kept pushed and pushed and pushed, we finally closed it.
Hey.
So I'm gonna tell you guys, if you get into new construction, here's the trick, you gotta prepare your vibe. Just say, hey, it might not close on the day that they tell you that it's gonna close. Because now it's not material, it's tradesmen that they're having a problem with.
Good morning,
That's
sir.
my good news.
I like that. Anybody else have good news they want to talk about?
I have good news.
All right, let's hear about your good news.
So I was so impressed last week that we had so many new people up there getting their first listing, their first payday and everything. And what it comes down to is that those people have just been leaning in hard. So it's exciting to see the hard work paying off. So I think that's great news.
I will send this to y'all in an email. I wish there was more of you here right now. But I was talking this week to Pat Flood. He and I are pretty close friends and known him for a long time. And he was telling me that he got off the phone with Doug Duncan. Who remembers who Doug Duncan is? Who's Doug Duncan?
He's the chief economist for Fannie Mae.
So a really bright guy. Not as bright as Kerry is, but charming.
I mean, who is?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
He gets his info from me.
He called you, so Doug called you. He talked to Doug, and then guys, I'm gonna mess this up, and pretty much Sherry, you can help correct, because I will use the wrong word, you help me with the But he was talking to him, and he said that we've been very concerned about what are we trying to bring down in the United States?
Stress
Inflation, okay? Inflation, okay? And he says, last month inflation was where, at what percentage?
3%.
3%. And he says that if it's at 3% or below this next month, he says the chances, and he said typically when you do inflation, you add 2.5% to it, and that's where rates should be. Who would like 5.5% on mortgage rates? Yeah. Who would like that? We all like that, exactly right. So Doug Duncan, who is a lot brighter than I am in this, he says it's going to happen before the end of the year. If we get 2 months of it at 3% inflation, which it looks like it's going to be there. I love seeing my eggs now at $1.50 rather than $4. So I love that. I love eggs, which has to be great. And then he said he had a phone call from a Keller Williams agent that is with a lot of investors, and he says their investors that he works with, they came in and bought houses during the past couple of years. They're getting ready to dump their houses because they want to get the maximum amount of profit before the market changes. He says that this group's going to put in these 2,000 houses on the market. Can you believe that, Brenda? So other people that have bought these houses are going to think the same thing. So how would you all like for the end of the year, rates below 6% and several thousand houses coming on the market? What do you think?
I have a question,
Sir?
and I know you have the answer. So if rates are going to be in the 5s, right? That'll take a lot of people that you all are talking about right now off the fence. Okay. What can you do now until then to make sure you get your fair share?
Someone answer that question.
Touch database.
Say it again, Kate.
Touch your database.
Touch your database, exactly right, Jill. And once you touch your database and tell them right now.
Get ready.
Get ready. Get ready. That's great. That's exactly right. Now, guys, your team leaders told you rates should be at 5% by what? Summer. I'm happy yet. Sorry. Still hot. But guys, I feel good about this. Does everybody here believe that at some point rates have got to come down? At some point, we're going to have more listings. Anybody believe that? Yeah. It's going to happen, guys. And so if I don't want you to wake up one morning and go, look at this house for $755. That is beautiful. Oh my God, that's my best friend's house. He listed it at XYZ Corporation because I didn't touch my best friend. So guys, this is a great time to be touching your database. And so guys, that's my good news for the day. I'm excited about having a market end of the year that could be strong, which is exciting. Okay, let's move on. Carrie, come give us some good news.
Good morning. I'm Carrie, CEO Doug Duncan. No, I'm just kidding.
A lot of people are thinking, oh, Jim, that sounds good. Hope that happens.
Right. I'm Carrie with Thomas & Brown. Good to see you guys. We have a couple of upcoming events on August the 10th, which I know seems like it's far away, but it's really not. We're going to do the Code of Ethics CE class for you guys from 7 to 1. Of course, we'll have lunch on the break. And this is one of those. How often is it required the ethics? It's every 2 years, I believe. 3 years. 3 years. Okay, so yeah, don't forget the that you need it, and like look back to see the last time you took it, because it never fails. Somebody's like, oh no, I need that, and I have to have it by tomorrow, so be sure to mark this down, on August 10th from 10 to 1. And we made it a little more fun. It's now called Let's Stay Ethical. There might be a dance, and we do have some fun prizes, so it'll be good, Jim.
What was the date?
I will be good. Will there be margaritas involved?
August 10th.
August 10th, put it on your
Yes, sir.
calendar.
And then for those of you going to Mega Camp, we have our event on August the 14th, which is the first night. It's gonna be a lot of fun. If you guys are there, we do it in a lot of family offices in Atlanta, so you get a chance to meet people, network, see somebody that you might want to co-op with. So that'll be very fun as well. And we look forward to seeing you all there. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Okay. Who's up next?
We are.
Come on. Danielle, Reed.
It's the Danielle DeLinky Show. And Good morning, everybody. Guys, we're on talk about mortgages.
The Danielle show, should she start off?
She's gonna take the hard on that. We'll send you the script next.
Okay, great, please.
So, we're not gonna talk too much about mortgages right now. I hope Jim's right with his rate prognostication. We all do. But guys, everybody knows right now, we're working hard. Y'all are working hard for every deal.
Yes, sir.
You can say preach it.
Preach it.
That's what my Bible says. So anyway, we're all working hard for every deal. I mean, I've got a client that is shopping me, and Danielle knows we're like repricing and sending scenarios. We're trying to win every deal, and you are too. You guys are going after every client, trying to get this. And it's really easy in a time like this to get into a self-preservation mode. And human nature is that we forget about others, or we tend to not be paying attention to the needs of others. What I want to tell you about today is the Silverton Foundation, and give you some statistics. Danielle's going to tell you, many of y'all have heard about it, but I just want to keep it fresh because it's good stuff that's happening.
Yeah, so the president of our company, Josh Moffett, he believes that you should be, what is his saying?
He
Giving
says
back-
success
without giving is failure.
Right.
Right. So he created the Silverton Foundation. Basically, every loan, we have a little bit of donation go into the Silverton Foundation, and we basically pay mortgage or rent payments for families with sick children. And we have emails that come out. Do we send it out to?
They're in our newsletter that go out.
Yeah, they're in our newsletter, and it really makes a difference for a lot of people, because these people, have these children that are completely sick. They can't do anything. They have to spend months at the hospital and sometimes go out of town. And
Yeah, and if you had to make a decision between going to work to make enough money to pay the rent, or being at the hospital with your kid who's really, really sick, authoring, how do you make that choice? What do you do? So it started with at CHOA. We got a liaison at the hospital with the caseworkers, and we said, look, this is what we want to do. Would you screen the folks and the people that you think are needy? Here's the application, send us the application. And so that began, this is the 10th year anniversary. You'll see some of the Silverton stuff that says 2510. Silverton's been in existence for 25, Silverton Foundation for 10. And now it's expanded. So I just got some of these statistics, or some of this info. So right now, we're at Atrium Health in Wake Forest and Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Duke University Hospital, Ronald McDonald House in Atlanta, CHOA, Northside Hospital, Emory, the Marcus Autism Center, St. Vincent de Paul, Sibley Hart, Burt's Big Adventure, that sounds fun, Pittsford Hospital, Atrium Health in Macon, Southern Grace Hospice in McDonough, in Missouri, St. Louis Children's Hospital in Ohio, Cincinnati Children's Hospital, Tennessee, Monroe Carroll Children's Hospital, Vanderbilt, Texas, Dell Children's Medical Center, and Virginia, Inova Fairfax Hospital in Annandale, Virginia. This thing's grown a lot. So here, this year, this is what the Silverton Foundation has done. And we're excited. I mean, almost every employee has a little bit taken out of each paycheck too that goes to it. It's not a lot, but it all adds up. In 2023, we've assisted 110 families with 205 months, which is 17 years worth of rent and mortgage payments, for a total of $223,058. That's significant. and the significant of it was you, who was having your rent, 2 months rent paid, right? Lifetime, 1,128 families, 1,871 months, which is 156 years of mortgage rent payments for a total of $1.8 million. So I gotta, sometimes this stuff's a lot easier when it's on autopilot and it's just automatically happening. And that's what's happening here. The money that's being given is coming from each closing, so you guys are participating in that. It's coming from our paychecks, which is wonderful. And then we've got our biggest fundraisers coming up in October. I think it's October, which is the annual golf tournament, which is at TBC Sugarloaf this year. And so if any of you guys want to be a sponsor of that or participate in it, please let us know. But I just wanted to give you some good news, because if you boil it down, I know you are. If you really start thinking about the people out there, the individual people that are getting help, I mean, it's a big deal. So just want to give you guys some good news today, and be encouraged, because everything you do, it's not only helping you. And by the way, one quick stat, Jim, I'm almost through.
He's not up yet.
When he brings the crook out, I know that I'm through. We've started a new statistic this year, because we realized that it's not just the families that were getting into homes. There's 2 real estate agents on every transaction too, whose lives we're affecting. Do you believe that the mortgage person on the transaction affects your life?
Yes.
Now think about it, guys. We're not just one more pretty face up here. We look like you, and I know the guys from Springfield the same way. You've entrusted us with your paychecks for 3 weeks or a month or whatever it is, and we want to get you there. So 2,846 families and realtors whose lives have been enriched this year. So anyway, good stuff. Appreciate you guys very much.
Hey, agent staff highlight, guys, I love these because we're learning more about our fellow agents. So let's see what we're gonna highlight today. Yvette Barajas, previous occupation, a paralegal with an immigration law firm, joined KW because at that time, this office was close to my house at that time, by the way now. 23 years in real estate. I was part of the National Ballet, whatever that word is, what is that word?
Folklorico.
Folklorico Mexicano.
I've been to that.
For so many years.
In Oaxaca.
Let's give a bell a hand. Make your names, I'll let you talk about that, okay? All right, and then we have our own Angela Presley, previous occupation, stay-at-home mom, joined KW because of the culture. She's been in real estate for 9 years. Interesting fact, I have 3 rescue dogs, 2 pits, and a mastiff. So she loves dogs, and she's a wonderful part of our office. ALC, just like Yvette is. So great. Anyway, guys, congratulations on these. Keep turning your stuff in. So Y4C2Ts. Pick one this morning. Who's the pick one this morning? Who am I gonna pick on? Who am I gonna choose this morning? Pick one this morning. Let's see, Brenda pick one. Y4C2Ts.
I say teamwork.
Why teamwork?
Oh, which Brenda were you wanting? Yeah, which Brenda?
I got Brenda right there, I'm sorry. Brenda,
Okay.
which one? Yeah.
Should have worn orange today. I say teamwork because I joined this office because of their education, and I've heard so many good things about it. But yes, and all that's true. But I think after being here a while, it's being able to draw from the people that are here that are just so willing to help you and jump in with any question you have. Paige has helped me so many times. Cindy Contrusi, Amanda, I mean, just any question, Eric, any question you have, they just are so freely to give away their information. And I think that's helping in 3 deals I've done.
And I agree with that, guys. If you stop, most people in this office, you need to help, they will stop and help you. So teamwork is one of my favorite ones. Way to go, way to pick that one. Script Mastermind is coming up Friday, 9 to 11. You want to talk about it, Rob?
Oh,
Is that you?
tomorrow, yeah, you said Friday, I was like,
Oh, I thought you said Friday, I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
tomorrow, I'm sorry.
So tomorrow, The script masterminds. So as we move forward from what Jim said this morning, and if rates are gonna be where we think they're gonna be, right, according to the guy who's in charge of that for the United States, right? We could come up with scripts, right, to how to have those conversations, to prep your people to be ready. So I highly encourage you guys coming to this script class. If you have a team and you have people on your team that are on the phones and whatnot, send them down. Brenda sent her people down before, and funny story. So Brenda's one person came down, and Brenda Bichette, right? And it was funny because we went through the whole thing, and it was a different perspective for that person hearing from me instead of Brenda. And she goes, "Yeah, but I'm doing this, this, and this, and this." And so I went right to the numbers. Well, how many calls are you making? And she told me her number. I'm like, "You're not making enough calls." She's like, "That's what Brenda said." I'm like, there's numbers to everything to make it easy. And if I know I got to do 100 sit-ups, I just have to just do it. And whether I like it or not, you just got to keep doing, because the numbers will tell you where you go. So part of script practice in this mastermind is, coming together, working with each other. And the reason we're calling it a mastermind is because it's whatever's happening for those people in that room right now. How can we craft something that you could use today and use?
Take command Spark Plans with Karen Qualters. Guys, if you're not using this, it is a great way for you to keep up your business and have it in an organized measure. And she is the best at this. So take Command Smart Plans with Karen Qualters, Wednesday, July 19th, tomorrow from 11 until 12.
It'll be on Zoom also. So
it'll be on Zoom also. Exactly right. So guys, please take command and do this. This will help you touch your people on a regular basis and know what to say to them.
Jim, can I say something about this? Because anybody who's not into A, command, get in command, or B, smart plans, maybe some of you have the same feedback, but my clients who get those, they tell me they like it. And they're getting, neighborhood updates, these type of things. Talk about touching your database. It's automatic. That fills in for one of those touches. So you're not doing like the neighborhood bi-weekly, everyone, whatever, but I'm just saying they really like it, whether they're ready or not. People want to know the values and things like that. So
put Eric on your smart plan, because if you make mistakes, he will come and let you know what you've done wrong.
I get robbed.
Thank God someone gets it.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks for doing that in this committee. Keep current smart conversations on Stats with Top Producers panel. Thursday, July 27th from 10 to 11:30. Registration required, ticketed event. Sandy Springs Cinema. This is the current stats, guys. As you can see, there's someone from every office on this. They're going to do the stats, and there's going to be a panel to discuss what the stats look like and how to interpret them, what they're seeing at the guys. So please go to this. It's hosted by the Rawls Group, and again, Thursday, July 27th, and you must register because it is going to sell out because there's 2,000 of us, and there's only room for 120 people. So please do this. And Kimberly, how can they register for this besides through the QR code?
I sent an email out yesterday with a link as well.
Good. But once you have one of the stats, they're back, and please sign for it. You will learn a lot at the stats that day. School supply drive. Anyone going to talk about this morning? Guys, as you know, a lot of kids don't have the luxury of thinking, well, Mom, I want that, or Dad, I want that, I want this, I need a new book bag. A lot of kids go to school with no supplies at all. So we're going to help them with this. It's something that we do for several years in a row. Thank you, Chrissy Height, and whoever else for helping organize this. But just realize we're doing this, and it's online. I'll tell you what to do. We need everything in here by July 25th, which is next what?
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. So guys, please do this. Even if all you do is bring in a package of pencils, and that's all that's in your budget right now, then please do this because these kids need stuff, and we want to help them go to school and have something to start the school year out.
You can go to Amazon and have it delivered right here, and we'll put it.
Yeah, for sure. Productivity. I just want.
Rob,
Say it again, it's too easy.
It's too easy, yeah. So, problem in real estate is there's a lot of easy buttons, we're just too dumb to push them. Right? So go on Amazon, just, it'll be here.
Does everybody know how to get to this spot for Amazon, and how do you get them when you go to Amazon?
It's been emailed out several times.
What?
It's been emailed out
Great,
several times.
great job. Our agent wants to have leads to call and be environment to win. Come and lead generate with us. Receive income, earning leads and content framework and support. August the 3rd. Rob, are you doing this?
That's
No,
Courtney.
so Courtney Newton.
It says Courtney. Sorry.
Yeah, so Courtney Newton, good problem to have, and anybody who has a team and you have this problem, she's got so many leads and she doesn't have enough people to call her leads. And she's like, I need to get these leads called, because when you own a team, you're paying for the leads. So here's what she's gonna do. She's gonna do script practice with you, right? And Courtney is awesome, right? When it comes to script practice and everything. You will lead generate together, right there, so you're not doing it on your own. Her leads, okay? And I think the split's gonna be 50-50?
25%.
Oh yeah, so she's gonna keep 25% because she's paying for the leads, right? And you get 75%, okay? That's a great deal. So if you don't have leads, there's no reason you shouldn't have leads, because there's plenty of people that have leads that they can't get to them all. I was talking about Brenda's assistant, you can only get to so many. And if they start piling up, as the owner of a team, you're like, we gotta call these leads. So, unbelievable opportunity.
No brainer.
No brainer, guys. If you don't have leads, please go to this August 3rd at Courtney's office on Little Roundsville Road. Thank you, Courtney. Ignite's coming up, guys. This is a great time if you're a new agent to get your 25 hours over with. If you're an experienced agent, you think, oh goodness, I need to know how to connect with my market. I need to know how to find my value, etc. Guys, these are all incredible sessions, so please sign up for them. And if you're interested in teaching Ignite or leading one of the classes, we need a few more instructors, so please reach out to Kimberly and she will get you plugged in to something that you want to teach and teach well. So guys, this is coming up. Mega Agent Camp, Austin, Texas. Guys, if you have this in your budget, I highly recommend you go to this. You will come back with some business and you will have heard from the best of the best in the country on how their business is doing, people that are having their best year ever. So Agent Mega Camp, just all you have to do is just Google Keller Williams Mega Camp 2023 and it'll come take you right to the site. Lessons learned. Right?
Lessons learned. So I learned a lesson today. And I went to the person that has the answers. Usually I have the answers, but I don't have all the answers. So I went to Sherry. So I've got a family member that I'm doing free deal for, right? So I'm like, I don't have to do much here, right? So what do you have to do when it's family? Disclose it, right? So it's a listing. So there's nothing on the listing agreement that says it's my brother or my sister-in-law. So I got the offer, I negotiated it, we got it accepted this morning, and I was like, Sherry, don't I have to tell them that, I know these people? So, 2 ways to do it. I could have put it in my counter offer, right? Just a step. Now I gotta sign it back. So what do I do?
Amend it.
So I'm just gonna take the verbiage from, I'm not gonna try to recreate anything. I'm gonna take the verbiage from the contract.
From
Page one, right there at the bottom, and can't copy and paste, but I'm gonna type it out and I'm gonna put it in there. So little thing, now if I didn't do that, what happens? What's that?
License law violation.
Correct. And one more lesson learned. And this is why we love Sherry so much. So, for my brother's condo, it's my mom's, right? And I listed it, put the picture on it of a condo, and I got one of those emails from Georgia MLS that I'm in violation. The opening picture. And I had a picture of the front door. Well, for a condo, what does the first picture have to be? See? I didn't know that. So it's gotta be a picture of the exterior of the building, not the unit, the whole building. Or change the picture. So I put the kitchen, right? Because I wasn't gonna go back out there and we were stuck with the contract. So two things, and I've been doing this a while, and you learn every single day. So I learned that yesterday, and I learned the relationship this morning. So you're always going to be learning. So there's no dumb questions in real estate. Come to me, come to Sherry, ask your fellow people in here, right? Everyone's gonna share with you. But did anyone learn something from that already?
Yeah.
Cool, I'm not the only one.
Okay, you all, so, you know, we had a great ALC meeting that went on, about 30 minutes past the time, because we had a discussion about the survey that y'all sent in, and we got 10% return, is that what it was? 10%? 20%? Whatever it was, which is great. I told Amanda, who sort of helps with this, I said, if you get 3%, that would be normal. If we got a nice return, and one of the things we heard a lot on there, we want more masterminds. And I said, okay, someone tell me what a mastermind is. And basically what we heard was, what I heard was, we want to talk more and be talked at less. We want to be part of the discussion. So we've done a couple things to change things up. And so we're going to start today with a mastermind. We're going to give you subjects, and Sherry's going to lead it. And so Sherry, come on up.
So today's our test run, and if it proves to be successful and you guys enjoy it, and we are going to try to incorporate it maybe once a month in place of our team meetings. The people online, y'all are going to be your own group. So I think Kimberly's going to put you into a room. So forgive us if that doesn't happen right away. We're testing it all today. So if you're not sitting at a table right now, I need you to get up and move to a table. So, sir, if you could just like come over here with them, and then we got a couple of seats right here. You gotta be sitting in a circle, or at least half of each other. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hand each table with different type of questions. Y'all are gonna discuss it, you're gonna brainstorm, and then if time allows, if time allows, then we will go through and discuss them with the whole group, all right? So, online group, you've already got your questions, correct? Okay, so.
We're even doing it for the online group, people zooming in.
Did. Okay, y'all have got number 3 right there.
Sherry, were you a STEM teacher or former law?
No, but my parents, my mom was from the base.
You learned how to go.
We did
I have opinions.
You see this a lot, right?
I know, right?
Seriously.
First of all, we have to sell
Look
at
This is Heather.
look at all offers.
Yeah.
And then, we'll get an Excel spreadsheet. Perfect. What if you only have like 2? Like then do you just, I mean, yeah, you need to,
Or they can pick one of them.
Alright, we're getting y'all about 5 minutes.
Another thing that, and I'm smart, Danielle involved in that, I would actually see if it is gonna be a loan, immediately call the lender and just say, how legit is this person? And if they're like, ooh, it's tricky, you know, honestly.
Another thing that I do about the mention, because obviously, you're crazy, these crazy offers, then there's no way to we're giving you a number of opportunities. And I can't tell you how many times I've had offers, and I did not have the ones that I don't want them to
And what cash is it? Is
You're
it,
like,
yeah,
is it hard?
hard cash or
Oh,
something?
yeah.
I mean,
I was
really
surprised by that. I'm like, you're gonna be this one, everybody left me. We're not like, we're guaranteed, say, they're providing $20,000 over the course, and they're guaranteeing, right? If we're offering money, this is a lease, you don't use that 800 to 100 guarantee.
Well, and another thing is to ask the officer if they want to do it.
Yes, that's a good
A lot of times
one.
we're in here, and they don't have their house.
Okay, so not all of us say, so the seller comes to the right to make or
And that's why it's good to know too, like, that's Sunday night, because the chances of maybe getting a hold of all those loan officers at the rural time, better on a Monday. Absolutely. Yeah, so like, say I said that's by Sunday, by 6, you're like, I would never.
I mean, I could have thought on Sunday, I'm going in August, like if someone's getting a deal, like if it's a deal, or someone's trying to run a place, right? How come I don't see that? You know what I mean? And Monday.
Yeah, I cannot wait. I've heard many.
Oh, it is really long.
But then this heat wave is
So we
coming
were just talking about those inspections.
It's very hot. I was not up there.
Well, in rainy days,
Yeah.
I see the cameras on my board, but I don't see anywhere in here where we see red pool versus It is a DAR counter offer.
In England, they have heat waves.
Oh, right.
Initial was a verbal offer, and the counter offered on a DAR counter offer form. But I don't see anywhere in here.
So what are the other terms? She said you're number 3, so we went right to number 3.
Right,
that's right.
What are the other terms? And I don't see any.
We didn't realize there was a
other
scenario.
agents involved.
But is it, we didn't read it based on the.
Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha, okay, gotcha. We were right, we were
And I don't
right.
see any multiple agents. You know, this is just, this scenario is dealing with one verbal.
We just have to focus on that.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical. You receive multiple offers, I can whether the three is
And I'm big on calling other agents, like, what happens if you call an agent, you're like, hey, I received your offer, I received your offer, what happens? She's like, you know what, just ignore our offer, we're moving on, or something, we realized you had multiple offers, so we wanna compete. Then that's a simple way to get there, yeah, right.
If the seller authorizes you.
All right, guys. 1, 2, 3.
No, I've never had.
Okay, so I'm gonna, who had the question about the seller's disclosure statement?
But it is common
All right,
to
so
ask for
can I
highest and
discuss
best.
the seller's disclosure, does a seller
Especially
legally have to
local law.
have does a seller's disclosure statement have to legally be provided in a contract?
No.
Only if there is one.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It says, does it have to be made a part of it if there is one?
Okay. When should a property seller's disclosure statement be updated?
If something happens during the listing, they have a new appliance or old ones that breaks and they put a new one in, I would say disclose it. And then also after a home inspection, if there's something that they're now made aware of, they need to update.
Perfect.
But if they don't provide a disclosure, don't they have to indicate why? Like say he's never lived in the house, so he doesn't know.
No, it is not legally required in the state of Georgia to provide a seller's disclosure statement. Yes, it's highly recommended, especially if the owner are living in the property. I would think something would be suspect if the seller is refusing to provide one, if there are people living in the house, but no, it is not legally required, nor do you have to explain why you're not providing one.
It protects the seller as well
Yeah.
by disclosing things they know.
I can add something. I was on a class, Seth Wiseman, and just so y'all know, under Georgia law, a commercial seller of a commercial property does not have to give any disclosures whatsoever.
Wow.
The idea is, so don't ask for You
That was
ask for a
asking for it.
disclosure statement, you're probably gonna get laughed at by the selling agent if it's a big shop. But a owner of a commercial property in Georgia's eyes, under Georgia's eyes, the buyer should be sophisticated enough to do their own due diligence, know all the questions to ask, but the seller owes no regard to patent or latent defects. And if the agent knows it, because the question came up, well, what if the agent gets told that, you know, the roof is ridden with termites? No obligation to the agent.
Hey guys, that's for commercial, not residential.
Repeat that,
Just make sure they heard correctly.
And the due diligence is longer than 7 days, it's 7 months.
Yeah, really.
Okay, last question for you guys. When can the agent help the seller fill out a disclosure statement?
Say never.
Thank you. You all got that right. Got the book shut. So, and I don't think, because there's been time, I mean, I know that in these days it's rare that you're sitting next beside your sellers when you're going over the listing paperwork. We tend to like just send it off in an email. But I think if you're sitting there side by side, you can help the sellers, maybe if they're elderly, understand what they're filling out, but they still need to be the one either checking that box or pushing that button. Because we don't want to be held liable if we accidentally push the wrong button or check the wrong box. We could be held liable for that.
And sure, whose disclosure is it called?
The seller's disclosure.
Not the agent's disclosure.
The one thing I was gonna say is what's really important to look at once they fill it out is obviously you need to review it. Don't just take it and put it online, because people do that and then get in trouble later. But the biggest thing that we've had issues with is when they say things are staying or not staying, make sure you read that, because if there's a dilapidated playground and they say that it's staying, but the buyer wants it gone, that can be a huge issue when you do the final walkthrough. So just make sure you're looking at both of that. That's extremely important.
Good. Okay, who had the earnest money question? Okay. Legally, does earnest money have to accompany an offer?
I'm going down on this one because I don't know. I would say it has to be promised, there has to be exchange in the contract.
Consideration,
that's the right word.
it is.
But it can be committed to within a time frame.
Any other thoughts on that?
No, because
It depends on how much the earnest money is, correct? Like, cause remember, I had one for 10,000 and I had to have it in by a certain time frame. Is that what the question is? I'm sorry.
No.
Legally, does earnest money have to accompany an offer?
Oh, no, okay.
You can have an offer and you can have a contract without earnest money.
Yeah.
Because earnest money, a lot of people believe that the earnest money is considered the consideration. In reality, it is not. So consideration could be the mutual promise to sell and buy, and that's the reason why that $10 is pre-printed in most of your forms, because that is the consideration.
So do you mean like actually on the contract, you do not have to
You do not
check the
you have
box saying?
zero earnest
Gotcha,
money.
okay, I just wanna make sure. Yep.
Yes. All right.
Is that recommended?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Can we go one step further and
Yeah.
explain why it's important?
Why is it important to have earnest money? Well, yeah, most definitely for the buyer, it means that they're serious. And the more earnest money they put up, the more serious as a listing agent, I would think that they would be. And then also on the listing side, I mean, I think a seller would be foolish to accept a contract without earnest money, because there's no recourse if the buyer decides to walk.
And the earnest money becomes what they basically lose, the buyer loses and
Right.
they walk away, and it's the only source of recourse then, right?
Yes. Any other questions? Okay, earnest money. The listing broker always holds the earnest money, true or false?
False.
Okay, good. Do you want the listing broker to hold the earnest money?
If you're the listing broker.
If you want, whoever you represent, that's who you would prefer to hold the earnest money, is who you represent, because you want to know that, hey, your broker's got your back if the thing goes sour. But it would be, I mean, we do as a listing agent sometimes hold the earnest money, but it's usually from the smaller companies where they don't hold earnest money at all. That's their office policy. As a buyer's agent, it may be hard. As a listing agent, if you're negotiating, like, don't pick that the hill to die on. If they want their brokers to hold it or the attorney to hold it, that's fine. But just know that it is okay as a listing agent for us to hold it. And we don't have a problem with that. How much earnest money would you recommend a buyer to put down on an offer?
Personally, 2% or more.
Depending on how many offers are out there.
Yeah.
And why would you say that, Paige?
Because it is probably the only way that you can make your buyer's contract look better to a seller and it not cost the buyer a dime. They're gonna have to bring that money to closing anyway, so go ahead and put it earnest now, and it makes your contract jump to the top of the pile, because if you're looking at a $500,000 house and you put $1,000 down, you might walk from that. Because the wind flies in a different direction or another house comes on the market. You may be willing to pay an extra $1,000 for the new house that came on the market. But if you've got $30,000 or $50,000 down on it, you're less likely to walk away on a $500,000 house for $50,000.
So let's talk about that for 1 second. So let's say you're representing a buyer, right? And they're only putting 3% down conventional, right? We always say, oh man, those are tough deals, you know, the other side. What's the downside, really, if you have due diligence and everything, if they don't put that 3% as earnest money? Does that make your contract work a little bit better? Would you be more apt to, as a listing agent, to look at that a little differently than they're putting $2,000 down on a $450,000 house?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a question, I don't know.
Yes.
Yes.
Brenda, Paige, what would you think about that?
I think that's what I just said.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is, but let's say your person in $500,000 house is putting 10% down. When you do 3% down, people get a little slow. They're like, oh, they don't have that much money, you know? So you make a lot.
During negotiations, I always remind people that you're gonna have to put it down anyway. Do you have it? How much is it? The down payment, it means a lot to anyone. The down payment means a lot to the lender, to the buyer, to the seller, to the agents. It's where you put your money where your mouth is.
And then for those of you that are dealing with clients that might be in the lower price range and they might not, I mean, that $1,000 earnest money may mean a lot to them, then you are, I don't see this very often, but if they want to put $1,000 now, the time of the offer, you can also put an additional earnest money, maybe they're waiting for the next paycheck or something, on that front page of the contract. Earnest money can be delivered in multiple payments if everybody agrees to it. But just know that that might be another option if we're trying to jack up the earnest money we want to give. It can be delivered in installments, and you just spell that out on the front page of your purchase and sale agreement. So keep that in mind. Good job. Okay, Eric, I want to get to y'all. So your question was, what was it? Read it out loud for me.
3. Is there any consumer protection law where a buyer has a few days after signing a contract to terminate it?
Okay, the reason why I wanted to throw this question in is because I don't know why, but for the last month, I've had this question 3 times asked to me. So, and I don't know what's going on, but it's kind of weird. So there might be some false information going on out there. I don't know. But Eric, what did y'all discover? What's the answer?
Well, I think a couple of us found cooling off period. I didn't know offhand, so.
Anybody know the answer?
Separate from real estate contracts, you think there might be, like if you buy a car,
Right,
there's
the
some
lemon law.
sort of,
Yeah.
but it's not, I don't think it applies to real
I
estate.
know that in the loan process, Reed, I know you guys could, right, there's I read about that, mortgage, from a mortgage standpoint.
That's a refi.
That's only on a refi.
Yeah.
The answer,
But I didn't see where there was a real estate buyer,
Paige, you got the answer?
Well, it's just because of what we have recently gone through with the number of refinances that we've had. And people who own existing homes who did refis, they know that they had that 3-day right to rescind before actually receiving the money and the mortgage becoming a lien. And now I have seen buyers, very astute buyers, who have done multiple refis during the pandemic when we had lower interest rates, that they just automatically think that they get that again, and it's just not. But that's, I mean, I've run into it a couple of times in the last 6 months.
Alright, so, yes, and I didn't even know that about the refi, so thank you guys, because I wasn't aware of the refi, the 30-day rescission. So, residentially, there's only one way that the buyer would have, if they are purchasing something without a due diligence period, that they would have a right to get out of the contract. And that is if your buyer is purchasing a new construction, never owned condominium. So there's like, I don't remember what the days are for that, but there is like a lemon law protection period.
Yeah.
Seven, the new construction, never owned condominiums. And the reasoning for that is because the HOA might not be put together yet. So they're gonna give you time to hopefully get your hands on something that if they don't have their access to it yet. So that's the only contractual residential reason why a buyer might have a right to get out of a contract because of, for lack of a better word, the lemon law, or they can't, that they just change their mind. So just keep that in mind. So but like 3 times lately, I've had people say, well, don't I have an opportunity to get out if I change my mind in like 3 days or something? No, not unless you're buying a new construction condominium. All right. So let's go over who had multiple offers. You guys, tell us about multiple offers. So their question was, you're the listing agent and you received multiple offers. Describe the 3 different ways a seller may handle this situation. Spokesperson.
I'll be the spokesperson. Okay, so one way is to call for highest and best. So you have to let each person know via written communication that you've received multiple offers. And then also, I don't know if this is just best practice, but I do put it in the listing as well. So I put in the private remarks that we have received multiple offers. And if you do set a date, you can set a time and a date for highest and best. That's one way to do it. Most people will have a deadline. I like to do it not on a Sunday because everybody's just trying to do everything on Sunday. So I try to do it where you can actually call lenders, although Danielle and her partner over here, they definitely answer the phone on Sundays. People don't.
Business partner.
Let's clarify.
I'm sorry, that did sound weird. But did you introduce that way earlier? Sorry. Anyway, so that's one way. Second way is you can counter one of the offers. So if you do receive multiple offers, your seller can choose to counter one of the offers. They don't have to actually call highest and best. They can say, this is the offer I want, counter that offer. So that's another way you can do it. And a third way that I've heard Paige Morgan talk more about, but I've never done this, but I know that she actually talks to her seller and they disclose the amount of the offers, correct, Paige? And will you say that? Because I think that's very interesting. I've never done that with a seller before, but I do think it's interesting and you've done really well for your seller for that.
With the seller's permission.
Yep.
And in my practice, with the seller's written permission, and that written can be email as far as I'm concerned. I will tell the other offers what our offer is that we are about to accept.
And that, or you give them all the details?
I give them all the details because the net doesn't mean a lot to me. The terms are so important in the majority of multiple offer situations, and a lot better than just the number. But I'm not sure that I heard you correctly about selecting one to counter.
Yeah, yes, I said you could
You can counter all of them at the same time. You can counter every single one of the offers that have been presented at the same time.
I've never done that either. That's not interesting.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I said I've never done that either. Like I've never countered all of them. That's another.
Yeah,
so-
that's the third way. A seller can counter all the offers at the same time, and if your seller chooses to do that, there is a special step that you need to include in your counter back to all of the offers, and it basically is something to the effect, and it's in your GAR forms, it says that the first one that comes back accepted will be the one that's bound. And that's how you determine like how they come back. So yes.
They say that again? The first one that comes back is bound? I've never heard
It's
of
accepted, and then you, yes. So there's a special step in GARs for that. If you choose to counter all of them at the same time.
Don't write your own step for that.
Yeah, don't, please.
Do not write your own step, copy paste
Yes.
that step.
Has anyone ever done that? Just curious?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we used to do it all the time.
First one.
Oh gosh, I would never.
First one that comes
Okay.
back.
If you don't have that
stipulation, you're in trouble.
Yeah, if you don't have a
Seller's in
stipulation, you're in trouble.
And
So be
you-
very
You
careful.
can
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't
select which ones you want to count. If you have
Okay,
forty
I
offers,
got
you're
you.
not gonna counter 40 offers.
I got you,
But
okay.
if you have 40 offers, you're going to have
Three good
four
ones.
that are
Right,
good
yeah.
ones.
True.
That you just, I don't know, if this one would give me the days and this one would give me the price, then I would have one. So you then, with the seller's permission, I just keep saying
Yes.
that over and over. I mean, and if you're a new agent, don't do that without somebody helping you. Like Sherry will help you all day on the weekends, nights, whatever.
Holidays, Christmas morning. There may be a time that looks after 5 hours. And her cell number is. So just to piggyback real quickly,
She's got the best candidate.
if you're in a multiple offer situation and you're choosing to counter just one or a select few, there is a form that you could have your sellers fill out, and it may save you a little grief. It is not necessary, and it's called notice to reject offer. That you have your client sign that says, hey, I present it, because it's proof that you got your offer presented, and he just chose not to counter, and just have that in your back pocket, so when you get that upset agent who, why didn't my offer, you didn't present my offer.
Yeah.
You can shoot that over to them and say, yes, we did, and so chose to go in a different direction. That's just kind of a CYA piece.
You
that has
hear
its
that a
own
lot.
kit.
I don't think they even showed my
Yeah,
offer.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
So-
And then Sherry makes us upload every single one of those offers to command. Yeah,
Well, that's
don't
a
forget
Greg,
that.
that's a Greg. It's not a Sherry rule, that's a
Just
Greg
kidding.
rule. Okay, what question did y'all have? I forgot which one I gave you. 7, tell us about 7. Yvette, tell us about 7.
What's the
Yeah, read your
question?
question.
Do I have to disclose that I'm getting a referral fee for referring a client to a broker in another part of the state or country? Okay, we say yes, definitely yes. The only question that we have is if we have to use the same referral firm that we use in Georgia, we'll be able to use it out of the country. That is my question, that is our question.
Okay, so, before I answer that, I just want to clarify, there are 2 forms that are necessary if you are referring somebody. And the form I think you're referring to is the broker to broker. Yes, the guard broker to broker, guys, you can use that, whether you're, no matter where you're sending referral fee to. And I actually like it better than the Quan has their own broker to broker referral form. To me, it's just messy and not very pretty. So I actually prefer the guard one. I would be careful, just be careful when you're doing the guard form. If you're sending a buyer lead to somebody, let's say in California, and part of that on that broker to broker, it says for how many transactions is this lead good for? Do yourself a favor, don't put just one. Because if they're buying, chances are they're selling in 2 to 3 years. So, or if you're referring an investor to somebody, you might want to put 10 down for that. I mean, if they're thinking that they're going to be buying more investment properties to the person you're referring them to. So just kind of keep that in mind. Don't cut yourself short on that. The second form that is required that may be actually more important than the broker to broker. Who can tell me what form that is?
Authorization, letting them be a referral.
Yes.
Acknowledging that.
You have to get your client's permission in writing before you can ever pick up that agent in California and say, hey, I have a referral for you. Just like you have to have your seller's permission in writing to represent them, or your buyer's permission on the buyer's exclusive to represent them, the same is true with referrals. They have to know that you could be receiving monetary gains from this referral. It's called the authorization to refer. It's form F843. You have it ingrained, and it needs to be ingrained in everybody's memory.
And Sherry will ask you as soon as it goes in.
So please, that is the first form that you need to get signed. Now, if you already have a listing agreement or a buyer's brokerage agreement, that F843 is not necessary, because in your brokerage agreement, whether listing or buyer, they've already given you permission in there to refer them. But y'all didn't know that, did you?
I did not know that. I learned 4 things
So-
today.
She's counting.
So, if you've already got a listing agreement, buyer brokerage agreement, you do not need that referral authorization. But if you don't, then you need a referral authorization, get your client's permission in writing to refer them, and then you pick up the phone and call whichever agent you want to send them to, and you send the broker to broker. Any questions about that, guys?
Well, they're not even a client, though, right? They're not even a client if you haven't signed a brokerage agreement with them. They're just
Right,
a
but there's,
person.
but there's somebody that you're gonna be making money
Referring.
off of, so that you need to get them signed, yeah.
Say that again,
There's
because
somebody
that
who-
is that's the clearest way to define
You're-
whether or not you need something.
You're making money off of it.
If you're making money off of it, somebody has to say it's okay.
Yeah, what was the question?
So I've had this problem, so there's a buyer, marked as a buyer, you're referring a buyer or a listing, right?
Mhm.
So I referred a buyer to someone and then they sold, and I called them on it, and they wouldn't give me the commission because I didn't list, put a listing as well.
Yes, good point. So,
Wow.
or you didn't, you probably just put one transaction.
No, I've done like multiple transactions, but because I didn't check the listing as well, they would not give me the referral.
Just mark it all up.
But it,
Mark it
with
all.
DocuSign, it doesn't let you do those, so you would have to download it, re-upload it.
Okay. That's a good lesson learned right there.
And that agent will never get a referral.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not cool.
And you might
I
not
also
ever know.
think that it's important that you follow these rules and regulations and check the boxes. But I think it's also important that you make a good decision, a good business decision about how many times you're gonna get paid on somebody. Because if I can't get somebody to accept that they're gonna pay me over and over, am I really doing the best thing for my client? Am I getting the best agent for them, or am I getting the one that's gonna pay me the most?
That's true.
And I would much rather get the best agent for my client and get my referrals without paying for them from my client, because I provided a great service to them. Does that make sense? Don't get greedy is what I'm saying. Because if you get greedy, the person that's involved in it, they know you got greedy. Because the other agent goes, you know, your agent in Marietta, when she referred me to you to me, I have to pay her for the rest of our lives. And then the client goes, oh dang, I just sent her my best friend. Hey, best friend, don't go with her, she's greedy.
Right, could be a scenario.
So, I mean, use your business practice secondary to what's legal. You know, do legal first, but then look at legal and go, yeah, that's the legal aspect of it, but I don't have to have that.
Perfect. Thank you. So we got you guys, right? We got your back table? We get John? I think we haven't gotten y'all yet, have we? Okay, what was your question?
Do I have to present a verbal offer?
What's the consensus?
Yes, enjoy all
Yeah.
offers. It's not legal all offers, but it's not legal.
All right, let's take it one step further. Can a verbal offer be accepted?
No. Yes, but it's
It's
not
just a
binding.
precursor.
It's not binding.
Precursor to it, so you can write
It's
it.
an actual.
So if we got a verbal offer and it was verbally accepted, can the buyer or seller be held to that?
No.
No.
Because I'm not,
I mean, how
It's
do you
only
make a,
enforceable if it's in writing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Say that again, Brenda?
It's only enforceable if it's in writing.
Now,
if another one comes in, they're like.
we had a situation a couple of weeks ago, and I'm hoping I remember this correctly, where I think it was a dispute, I can't remember what it was, either, the argument was whether we're under contract or not under contract. All the terms were negotiated via an email. There was a meeting of the minds via an email. And then one of the buyer seller, can't remember, changed their mind. And the brokers got involved, went to Cheryl King, and yes, in general, contracts can be accepted verbally and are binding, with the exception of residential real estate.
With exception.
Yeah, with the exception. Residential real estate contracts have to be in writing to be enforceable.
But does the email
To be
count?
enforceable.
Does the email count? Cause I had someone one time at 11:59 send an email.
No, because the seller could.
No, it was the actual client
But you.
that terminated the contract, and they said that was legal binding when I went.
No, no.
But it was it was the actual
An email
client.
can be
Yeah.
the avenue that a notice is sent, but the notice has to be in writing and attached to an email. The email itself is not.
But what if they can't get a hold of their agent and it's 11:59, which never happens in my contracts ever again? 8:00 p.m. Anyway, this is what happened. So it was 11:50. They couldn't get a hold of their agent, so the actual buyer emailed directly and terminated via email. He's a lawyer, and we were told that was legal binding. I don't know. We got another offer. It was fine. We moved on.
Notification was delivered.
It was,
Notification was delivered.
and that's what we were told. And he was a lawyer, so I would have been bad probably anyway. But yeah, just curious. We had another offer, so we went to the next offer. It was pretty much a fine situation in that sense, but
only the court of law knows.
Right.
yeah.
In other words, my attorney can say 100%
Yeah.
binding
Yeah.
or done next. The other guy attorney says, no, it needs to be in writing. So
Yeah.
there's not, all we figured out is to go to court.
Right.
So that's not a, that's the answer.
I mean, exactly, because I've had attorneys tell me disagree, two different things, right, so.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's just what happened.
Well, quit thinking because an attorney tells you something's right, that it's right. It's just an opinion. It's always just an opinion. And his opinion, her opinion is not as good as your opinion is, as someone that does real estate 24/7.
Well, it depends on what their,
But I read it
what
on
their
the
area of
internet.
expertise
I read
is,
it.
you know?
Yeah.
If it's not contract law, then they're not, I'm
Yeah.
aware of it.
I mean, they were just terminating the
Yeah.
contract,
Yeah.
and he said he had the right because he couldn't get a hold of his agent. I mean, I don't know. In the end, that's what happened.
Yeah,
But
yeah, let it go and move on.
yeah, we had another offer, but if we didn't, that would have been it was $1 million house. It wasn't like a cheap house. He decided not to buy a house at 11:59.
All right, guys, we got everybody, correct?
Mm-hmm. Get the online people.
Oh, online people, do they all leave or they stick
They
around?
did,
I
but
don't
there is a
know.
question,
Oh,
might be a lender question.
oh, does a real estate contract automatically terminate if the buyer does not show up for closing?
50,000.
Oh, I just don't want to throw that out there though, because that was their question. Does a real estate contract automatically terminate if the buyer does not show up for the closing?
No. Nope.
No.
So what happens, what stage is your contract in at that point?
Default.
Default, the buyer's in default. All right.
There's a question below that.
Oh, well, wait a second, how long can a contract be in default for in the state of Georgia?
3 days?
Oh no.
That's a good one.
I've heard 3 to 5 years. I'm gonna hit 3.
Oh,
I think it's like 3
Wow.
days.
to be in default.
So they can just show up
Show up.
a year later, whatever.
So the way to get out of
Can the
it,
seller
no.
sell it to the next person? Yes.
If the seller gives notice to the buyer, they'll notice that they are terminating because the buyer is in default and the buyer didn't show up. Then they can, as soon as I send that notice and the seller sign it, then they can move forward with their next contract and get it back on the market. But if no terminations are done or no notices are given that, hey, you're in default, that contract is lingering for 3, I think it's 3 years. I think that's a long time, for 3 years in the state of Georgia. All right, question down here and then we'll go, because we're over time. I don't know, this is a lender question, I guess. If 50,000 comes out of the buyer's account and is deposited into the broker's escrow account, does it affect the buyer's credit score or does it reduce the lender's evaluation of cash reserves?
No.
You just have to source it,
Because it's still your money if it's in escrow.
but you have to source it.
Yeah, you have it on, like on new construction, you get it all the time, you know, 2% earnest money, and then whenever they pick the fin upgrades, there's another $30,000. As long as it's sourced, it counts just like earnest money does on everything else.
Okay, they're probably asking that,
Toward
we're
down
talking
payment.
about large quantities of earnest money, just probably what triggered that question right there. So did everybody online hear the answer? Wherever you are.
Here's the one caveat on
Oh,
that.
did it say reserves?
And you guys will reiterate this, is if your uncle gives you 50 grand, right, and you put it in your account, and then you put 50 grand down, right? And it's a deal that maybe doesn't allow gift funds or something like, or you have to source where that, if it just showed up and you use that money, every lender is gonna go, where'd that come from?
It's gotta be seasoned.
Seasons.
Season or source.
What is that?
Or source.
Or source,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
or seasoned.
right.
Because the old, and this was a real thing, it was actually in guidelines and everything, it was called, what was it called? Mattress money.
Which actually FHA used to allow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you could have a picture of $100 bills
Yes.
in the
That
file.
was a long
You can't do that anymore.
No, you can't.
Alright,
With
he
a
gets
gift
a
letter.
lot of copy of money, so don't do it.
Hey.
Don't photocopy money, because you're not allowed to, so.
Thank you, I still get that every now and then.
I actually didn't know that.
I don't wanna see that.
And Sherry, if you guys ever hear your client talk about getting a gift, tell them to please talk to their lender first,
Yes.
because it is so much easier if we just do a gift letter and let them wire the money directly to the attorney. We don't have to get the donor's bank statements and all those sorts
Oh,
of
okay,
things.
good point.
So much easier.
Will you say that one more time? I'm sorry.
If, especially on a conventional loan, if you hear there's gonna be a gift, tell them to talk to their lender, because the best way to handle it would be, we have them fill out the gift letter and let the donor wire the money directly to the attorney's office. That way we don't have to have the donor's bank statement.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
I deal with that a lot on my people, with my people. And also I know that, when they are purchasing an investment property, I think that they correct me if I'm right, if I'm wrong. If that when they are purchasing an investment property, the lender doesn't allow the buyer to have those kind of gifts from the family members.
From
So it's
anybody.
only when you are purchasing a, first time,
Primary.
Primary residence. Yeah, or secondary.
Yeah.
Alright, guys, hopefully, give us
was awesome.
feedback if you've got any, and, we'll keep trying to do these and talk about
Yes.
things.
If you liked it, raise your hand, this format.
Alright, cool.
Awesome.
Okay, one last thing, on the email that I sent out, we sent out last week, is that all of us going over kind of the survey results. My very last comment was to let us know, because we're letting you know what the office is doing we heard you, but the office is trying to put in place some things to up our game a little bit, but not one person responded what they're gonna do to up their game. Not one person, so, I need to hear from some of you guys.
Did everyone see the video at the end?
Her story, not yours.
Can we play it right now?
No, but go watch this cute. At least you'll know where the working spaces are downstairs.
Well, and somebody already came back and said,
Yeah.
thank you for sending that video. I had no idea we had workspace downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so that was really beneficial, and there's plenty of good spots down there.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Would y'all like to hear one of the few things that Sherry and I disagreed on?
Yes.
I will pick on Brenda, because Brenda and I talked about this several years ago. So Brenda has a listing, it's her listing, and her buyer agent shows it. And they want to write a contract. Are they dual agents, because they're on the same team, or are they designated?
Dual.
Who says dual?
I say dual.
Okay, dual. Who says designated? And Sherry, what did you say?
Dual.
In my heart of hearts, I believe it's dual, but I conceded and I allow you guys to call it designated.
The reason why she allowed it is because Ben Blumenthal, who is my go-to, now does it make him 100% right?
No.
No,
No,
does
it's
not.
a matter.
But he wrote with Seth this law, and it says the only way you can be dual is if you are selling your own listing to your own client. That's the only way you can do. He says the other way, it makes it a little more or less clear. And then so if that's true, then if it's your brother-in-law, anyway, guys, just realize that it is always designated if you're selling a listing in this office or on your own team. But that's one of the ones that Sherry and I, and we had a good discussion about it. He had a discussion about it, didn't we? Is that right, guys?
So follow up on that for the new people. So if Brenda, right, has a buyer and they're buying Paige's house, right? That's designated because it's the same broker.
Yes.
Okay, I wanna make sure you get that, because who do we work for?
The broker.
The broker, so the broker's doing both deals, right? So you have to be designated. Cheever and I used to do this all the time, right? And he'd do one, I'd do the other, and I'd always fill it out wrong, and I'd go, oh, it's designated.
And can you do dual agency at Quan?
Yes.
Yes, with
Permission.
Jim's permission.
Or Sherry's or my permission, just say, because guys, when you're doing that, you're creating a problem. When you do that, okay? It's like you get a divorce and you and your spouse have the same attorney.
Transaction's not worth your license.
But there's always working on, not just like, someone had a question over here.
Realistically.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Jenny.
if Brenda's agent, how do you keep those files separate?
Great question.
It is very separate honestly. I don't talk to the seller. Like, let's say somebody else is listing on our team. I have no communication with that seller at all.
But I mean, the files are supposed to be kept separate.
They are separate.
But if you're the, I
Same
just think you have to be careful with
No, it's
transactions.
two opportunities.
Two opportunities.
One's the
No, I think
sell.
she's talking
In
about
your
how,
How to keep
Yeah.
the file separate.
I don't know, the seller doesn't give me information like I'll sell at 100, like I don't have information that would give me their motivation, that would give me, you know, any confidential info, their financial situation. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
No,
Because
because
see,
think of how
John,
it
different. because
comes
we're
from the
the
eye
same,
of the
yeah.
buyer who's gonna sue.
All right,
I have a
so one
question,
more
a quick
question.
question.
Yes, ma'am.
As far as dual agency, would we need to get your permission before filling out our brokerage agreement with our client, or just before a specific deal?
I want you to call one of us and just say, hey, I can believe this, but I listed this house and my best friend from childhood wants to buy it. Can I do dual? And we're gonna see if we can talk you out of that, because it's an accident waiting to happen. The one's gonna say, there are 4 things that need to be fixed. You told them to fix 2 of them. Whose interest were you representing? The sellers or mine? It is an accident waiting to happen, so that's why we don't like this.
What about customer acknowledgement?
One of my favorites. What is that, Clark?
Well, isn't that a third, option?
It's a great option. So if you call me and you say, I had this person that called me off the sign, I wanna write it, and so I can do both sides, can I do a deal? I go, no, treat them as a customer. It'll be a lot smoother. And what can you do? Tell them, Sherry, you treat them like a customer, what can you do for them?
You can explain the contract to them. You can, but you can't like give them suggestions or your opinions on how to fill in the blanks.
Also,
You
GAR
can-
has a great disclosure form for that. Be
Right,
sure
and
to
you
send
can
them
send
that.
them to websites. I mean, you're more than happy to do that. You can put them in touch with lenders. You can put them in touch with inspectors, termite people, whatever that needs to be done. You just can't give your opinion.
Yeah, always heard that you can use your hands, okay, and feet, right, but you can't use your brain. You can't like help them negotiate or anything like that. It's a fill in the blank. What number would you like for price?
When they give you a really low number, you can't laugh hysterically.
Money may look better, but you're gonna earn it. You're gonna
earn every penny of
earn every single penny.
And I get tickled when you all do both sides of it. You say, Mr. Seller, I'll do it for only 3% commission. Why would you do that? You're gonna work twice as hard. Why would you do that? And guess who usually suggests that first, most of the time?
What the person?
The agent.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Sullivan, I'll do it for free. Let the seller ask you that first, don't you agree, Sherry? Any other questions, guys? Yes, ma'am, Paige.
We had a situation, Saturday at an open house, and, we had someone come in who was unrepresented and wanted to know how much the house was if they were unrepresented.
Yeah.
And the house was listed for 600,000, and I told him that the house was 600,000. And he said, well, but I'm not gonna bring an agent in, and I said, well, that's entirely up to you. I strongly suggest that you do have an agent represent you. But, the house is listed for 600,000, and he goes, yeah, but I want, and I said, oh, you want my commission? You want me to pay you my commission? And he went, yeah, and I went, no. Just like that. And I mean, it's a script. It rolled right off my list. Oh, you want my commission? Yeah, no.
I actually say it a little differently. I just tell them, I'm really not allowed to negotiate on a document that my seller and I signed together. My agreement is with my seller, so I can't negotiate, you know.
Great script.
And so I totally divert it because it isn't, you should not be negotiating with a buyer when you've got a client. If there's any concession to be made, you make that in private with your seller if you decide to do that. So
I always share that, so I'm sorry, it's against the law. I've got an agreement
Sign
with the
listing
seller,
agreement.
and I have to do that.
Love it.
That's a good.
Love it.
I got one more question. When do you have to offer the BBA to your customer?
Before you get paid.
Even the customer at the time, if they're not signed it, right? So when are you supposed to do that?
At your first meaningful encounter.
Yeah.
What?
At the first meaningful meeting.
That's what the law says.
Say one more time, Brenda. At the first meaningful meeting. What does that mean?
A buyer's consultation.
Talk about real estate.
Maybe. Maybe.
So when a lot of people get signed, guys?
When there's
Put
an
it
offer.
online.
I had 3 today, but I got the buyer brokerage agreement is dated the same date as the contract. And I'm thinking,
I've got a problem, Jared.
because you were acting in an agent capacity prior to having the buyer's written permission to do so. It's read it.
Friend once.
And it is called the what to get it signed?
Buyer.
Law.
It's called, say it one more time? It's
Law.
called the law.
Wow.
My other agent doesn't make me sign that. Well, I try to follow the law. The law says I have to give that. If what is it saying there that you're doing? You're showing them how you're going to do what? What is it? Susan, you want to
Well, the way you do business and the way you're gonna represent them.
represent exactly right, Joe. And that's gotta be what? In?
Right. And it's right on the top, guys, so if they ever like push back on it, say, here's the whole contract, but you see this right up here under the title? This is the law code right here. It's written right on it.
Anything else, guys, before we move on? Because we have your order.
What a great mastermind.
Yeah.
Guys, just hear your older team leader tell you that the market is getting ready to explode. Getting ready to explode. And you can be a part of it, or you can sit and wait for, wake up 3 months ago, oh, I probably should call my clients. I should have new generation. Is it ready to explode? Yes, ma'am.
What indicators are you watching for this?
That's a great question, okay? The first thing is, I'm a very logical thinking person, like, in Atlanta, Georgia, how's the job market right now?
Good.
What is unemployment right now in Atlanta, Georgia?
Looks good.
2, 3.
2-3%, which means what percentage of people have jobs right now?
Like,
A lot. Anybody wants
Is that a great question?
Exactly right, so the job market is exactly right. And what is down to 3% right now?
Inflation.
Inflation, okay? Inflation down to 3% every night. And is Atlanta still a good place to buy a house?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Still a good place to buy houses. It's still one of the lower markets in the country. I mean, San Francisco, Center, there's still a lot more people where kids got the right kind. So all that stuff being done, at some point, you think the market's gonna come back and there'll be a lot of listings out there.
Yes.
It has to, guys. So, guys, just get ready because we should be, if the federal, the guy, Doug Duncan is right, we should hit those rates at the end of this year. Now, Reed, do you agree with that?
I have no clue.
That's a great answer.
I really don't, man. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many things.
Business partner, sorry.
But could it? Daniel, what do you think?
Ask me one more time.
Raise that question.
Hey, Daniel, were you on your phone?
I was on my phone.
About 13-year-olds get their phone taken away.
I was just
from
gonna
them.
say.
Okay, but ask me one more
Middle
time.
school.
I wanna give,
5.5, 5.75% rate till the end of the year.
I hope so.
Yes, I'll do that. Guys, get ready. Be touching your, I'm sorry, what are you pointing at?
Ask him.
Oh, I'm sorry, of course not. What do you
I
think?
gotta side with Reed on this one. My friend Reed, I don't know. But my fingers are crossed.
That's right.
But do you think it'll happen?
Huh?
You think it'll happen?
I do, I mean, if I had to guess, yeah, just because of the way that the inflation rate and the interest rates have trended.
You know what Doug also said?
Yeah.
This time next year, it's close to 400%. Maybe I'm right, I don't know.
Is this current, is this his previous, this is recent?
Just like last week.
When he and my friend talked.
Okay.
When's the best time to buy and sell a house?
Yesterday.
5 years ago.
5 years
Now.
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 So it's now.
Right now.
So it's now.
Yes, one more question, yes, ma'am. Hey.
The thing that's gonna help us if interest rates go down, and this is something that I've been talking to my team about, and I think is really important. And last sales meeting, I said that it was gonna go crazy either August 1st or the end of the year, or the beginning of next year. Okay, I still stick with that. It may be August 1st, and that's just according to Paige, not Doug Duncan. But the thing about it is if you just do one more level of thinking on it, is if the interest rates go down, is that gonna help our buyers to buy? Yes, because more people will qualify, more people will feel comfortable with the payment. But that's not what our problem is.
No, it's not.
Our
Inventory.
problem is lack of inventory.
Correct.
So now we are only selling houses to who? We're selling houses for the extremely motivated, people who have to move because they refied. Why would they move up in the same school district and pay triple and go from a 2.5% mortgage to a 7% mortgage? But what if they can go from a 3.5% mortgage to a 5% ARM? They're gonna put their house on the market. That's where we have to keep our brains, is that the inventory is going to come back for the motivated, not just the extremely motivated.
You experienced agents in here, but I'm coming to you. What did you hear as far as how many investors bought houses in the past 2 to 3 years in Atlanta, Georgia? What would you guess? Investors actually bought houses. 30-40%? Is that high?
No.
I don't know. What's I have no idea. But I heard a high percentage. So do you think they're gonna want to cash out and get the money out of their house at this point? I would think so. And that is me supposing that. I don't know the guy. At some point when it's gonna happen, I want y'all to do it for Virginia. Yes, ma'am.
Unless a crazy inventory shift happens, I think a lower interest rate is gonna make inventory tighter because more people will jump back into the buying.
And do you think it'll make prices go up?
I agree with you.
I think it'll raise prices.
I think prices go up.
And you all, Virginia, you could be 100% right. But I'm thinking about the ones that saying, I've got 4 children in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. I don't want that extra interest rate. But someone will go, I have to have that extra rate.
Will there be enough of them to offset the huge number of buyers who will jump
Well, I
back
can
out?
tell you at some point, the listing's gonna come back, has to. Because it's pent demand, right? Do you think we'll spend the next 10 years for this low of inventory?
I've heard this could last for 7 years.
Virginia, I don't know the answer to that question. Yes, sir.
Did you hear about specific hedge funds that were projecting to liquidate?
So this is, David Lewis, what's it called? Livium, exactly. David Lewis, said that Livium was getting ready, or someone he represents, to put 2,000 houses on the market.
Wow.
Now, does that make David Lewis right? David Lewis is, he used to be here, and now is that?
North Road.
Depends on what.
North Atlanta.
North Atlanta, is that where he is? Exactly, so does that, I mean, that's what he said, that's what he told somebody, so.
I believe it.
I believe it too, so guys, just realize that the market is going to have to change, I want y'all to be part of that market. All right, Sherry, anything else?
No, we're good, we're done.
Good, guys, give yourself a hand.
Sherry, there are questions we didn't get to, are they coming back next week?